I want what is mine by right. Jaime is your eldest son, heir to your lands and titles, but he is a king's guard, forbidden from marriage or inheritance. The day Jaime put on the White Cloak, he gave up his claim to Casterly Rock. I am your son and lawful heir.
You want Casterly Rock?
It is mine by right.
We'll find you accommodations more suited to your name, and as a reward for your accomplishments during the Battle of Blackwater Bay. And when the time is right, you'll be given a position fit for your talents, so that you can serve your family and protect our legacy. And if you serve faithfully, you'll be rewarded with a suitable wife. And I would let myself be consumed by maggots before mocking the family name and making you heir to Casterly Rock.
Why?
Why? You ask that? You who killed your mother to come into the world? You are an ill-made, spiteful little creature, full of envy, lust, and low cunning. Men's laws give you the right to bear my name and display my colors, since I cannot prove that you are not mine. And to teach me humility, the gods have condemned me to watch you waddle about, wearing that proud lion that was my father's sigil and his father's before him. But neither gods nor men will ever compel me to let you turn Casterly Rock into your whorehouse. Go now. Speak no more of your rights to Casterly Rock.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Midnight Double Feature. This is a special one because for the first time ever, we're talking Game of Thrones, something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. But I can't find a damn co-host to talk about it. Matt's seen bits and pieces. Colin hasn't seen it. Danny hasn't seen it. So I'm just over here quietly, silently dying before the fucking season 8 premieres. And I'm just like, man, who am I going to talk Game of Thrones with? And as promised in our Fire episode, Jill has decided to join us once again. Thank you so much for coming on, Jill. How you doing?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. I can't wait. You're always welcome to talk about Game of Thrones with me, and I will muchly appreciate it.
Man, Game of Thrones it's life. Like let's be honest. We've both been like going through like rewatches.
Yeah.
You're a little further ahead than me. Yeah. I'm nearly done actually in my rewatch. So
nice.
Just rewatching it again, I'm just like, we truly are in the golden age of television.
I know,
man. Like,
it's so sappy and sad, but I honestly do think I was like, we get to, and not only like, you know, people will still discover it in like 5 and 10 years time and they'll still watch it, but like to be around when it's actually happening and seeing the phenomenon like firsthand is like really great. And like, yeah, it's something, you know, you see these memes where it's like, oh, we were around when The Office was here and Friends and stuff like that. And like, they were pretty good shows, but to be in the midst of Game of Thrones is like, it's changed TV forever. So it's pretty cool to be watching it live, I guess, as you say.
Right, as awesome as The Office is, like, you know, yeah, we both love The Office.
Yeah,
we both love The Office, but like, it didn't set new ground. It didn't, you know, it didn't set the world on fire. Like I mean, the budget of Game of Thrones alone, like you can't. There's no competition.
Yeah, definitely.
So with this episode, guys, the way it's going to go is we're only covering seasons 1 to 4 because we will be here for 8 hours straight if we cover all 7 seasons.
Yeah, no, I need to eat. So we're gonna.
Yeah, and I'm gonna need to pee at some point.
Yeah,
but yeah, so it's gonna be seasons 1 to 4. There's gonna be full spoilers, and basically we're going to treat it like a feature presentation episode, which is where we kind of go through the seasons sequentially, but we're not going to be as detailed as what we do with the movie. So this is going to be kind of like a snapshot of the seasons.
Because again, we'll be
1, 2, 3,
here for
4.
like 4 hours if we do that.
Right. Exactly. And we're not going to go too far into the history and the
It's mainly for
lore.
the listeners' like benefit than ours. I mean, you and I could probably get a beer and talk about it for 4 hours, but I think people don't want to listen to us talk about Game of Thrones for 4 hours. So
people are going to want to take a break. Yeah, so seasons 1 to 4, full spoilers. Gonna try and take it sequentially as possible. And what we'll be doing is we're not going to talk predictions for season 8 yet, because at this time, at the time of recording, it's exactly 1 month away till it premieres. So
that's true.
How exciting is that, Jill?
That's pretty exciting.
14th of April. So we're not going to do predictions on this episode. We'll do it on the next one. But we are going to get into how we discovered Game of Thrones and, pretty much just kind of fell into this well of amazingness. And
well of amazingness. Great.
I don't know. I'm not good with metaphors, dude.
Okay. I got you.
You got me. But yeah, so man, without any further ado, I can't really think of anything else before to preempt this episode.
How do you start an episode talking about the greatest TV show of all time?
Well, I'll tell you how. I'm going to plug my socials real quick.
Go.
Guys, so Midnight Double Feature, you can find us on Facebook. We've got 2 pages. We've got the main page, which is where we post all of our updates and when we announce when we've dropped our episodes and things like that. So go ahead and like that, and if you want to stay in the know. And then we also have the After Party, which is the After Party, so 2 words. And that's basically where we, continue the conversation. So, that's where we post our memes and news, and people just get in on the fun and shit like that. So, yeah, it's, whatever. Go ahead and like it. Go join it. It's awesome. I love it. We're also on Instagram, which is at Midnight Double Feature, and we're also on Twitter, which is at MDF Pod. Jill, where can the people stalk you on the internet?
If you want to, I guess if you're interested in, I watch a lot of British TV shows and stuff like that, and I try and make my a certain Instagram account based on some of my funny TV shows that I watch. So if you want to have a look at my memes, and mainly just where I get to talk about my favorite shows that I'm watching or anything like that, I have an account, and it is at Instagram at Jolt, and it's got 3 underscores after Jolt, Jolt, and yeah, just kind of talk about if I've watched a random TV show, I'll just have a post about it, and I would love some feedback or anything else. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I dig it. I dig Jolt, man. It's a good, it's a fun page.
Thank you.
And like I said at the top of the episode, this is not your first time appearing on Midnight Double Feature. You helped us cover that tragedy and debacle that was the Fire Festival.
I don't know what you're talking about. They are all respected men who did an amazing job.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. Billy, I mean, come on. Mr. McFarland, he's a stand-up guy.
What does John think of all this?
Oh, my God.
Anyway, yes.
Oh, Jesus. Every time I hear Ja Rule, I can't.
What would Ja do?
What would Ja do? Monica! That's for the Fast and Furious fans.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know. So before we get into this, Jill, give me what was your introduction to Game of Thrones? Give me your backstory. Not your backstory. You're so I was born in Sydney.
So, yeah. I actually don't really remember how I found Game of Thrones. I think I was just trying to find a new series to watch because I, like everyone else, I love a good binge watch, and I just wasn't finding anything. And then I kind of was hearing some people talk about Game of Thrones, but it wasn't as big when it very first came out. I feel like some people were talking about it, but it wasn't as big as it obviously is now. And so the name did sound familiar, but I had no context or anything like that. I mean, I don't really know how exactly I actually clicked on and found it and started watching it. But I do remember, the only thing I do remember is when I did watch the first episode, straight away I was amazed. Like the first, like I think 20 minutes as well is just already it's an amazing piece of TV. And that first episode, the first like few minutes, straight away I was overwhelmed by like the budget that was on this TV show, even in the first season. And that's when I was like, holy shit, what am I watching? This is nothing like anything I've watched before. And from then on, I just like and I think I was like a year or two behind. So I watched the first season and then I found out there was another season. So I binge watched that. And then I think after like the second or third season, I was caught up. So then I had to like do the grueling thing of waiting and everything like that. But yeah, I was hooked in definitely from the very first episode for sure.
Fucking nice, man. Did you ever read the books?
No, I didn't. I wasn't really, and I say this too, like I'm not really into, I guess it's not science fiction really, but fantasy, I would say. Like, yeah, like Lord of the Rings and I love Harry Potter and stuff like that. But for a book, I don't really read fantasy books like that. So yeah, I didn't really know too much about Game of Thrones when I first watched the very first episode. I just knew this was an amazing piece of TV, and then I became more aware as like the seasons went on and it became more popular, and then I found out people started reading the books and stuff like that. But I was never really tempted to read the book, unfortunately. Once I started the TV show and I was like 3 or 4 seasons in, I thought, well, I'm in the TV now. May as well just keep going.
I like the visual medium. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Game of Thrones for me, I 100% remember when I got into it.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of a funny story. So, it was in 2012. I fully remember it. It was with our mutual friend Chris.
Yeah.
And we started because we'd heard so much about it. And we started that first episode, that premiere. And man, while we both thought it was good, you know, like we had full intentions of finishing it and going back. I mean, come on, like it ends with like Bran falling and this whole like plot starting. It was awesome. It was great. But man, like I don't know why. Maybe it's just because we were younger and we didn't really have that sensibility. We were just impatient.
Yeah.
And it was just so slow, like that.
Right.
Because we looked at 2 shows at the same time. We looked at Game of Thrones and something else that premiered very closely to Game of Thrones, but was also very well into its run. Was Walking Dead.
Right.
And The Walking Dead, that first season is actually pretty fucking incredible.
Right.
So the one that grabbed us both the most was The Walking Dead. So we actually watched The Walking Dead for a good long while before we returned to Game of Thrones. Dude, I hate telling that story because I hate The Walking Dead
You're
now.
ashamed to admit it.
I am, man, because
You're not a true Game of Thrones fan.
Oh, God.
I'm not gonna.
But
don't worry.
Yet here I am.
Yeah, making a podcast about it. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, seriously, I hate The Walking Dead now. Like, I do not even hide it. Chris, like, tries to get me, like, he tried to get me back into it for, like, ages. He watched it up to, like, I think season 5, man, and I called it quits on season 2.
Yeah.
I'm like, see ya, man. Like, it's just repetitive, and I'm just bored, and I'm like, see ya. And then, man, like, people at uni just kept talking about it. They're just like, Game of Thrones this, Game of Thrones that. And I'm like, Chris, we gotta get back on this train.
Yeah. I just remember, I don't remember the year at all, so I don't know how far in the actual like series was, but I remember being up to like 2 or 3 and it was like I was caught up or something like that. But I remember like a few people talking about it, but it wasn't like we were like, oh my God, what do you think's going to happen next? Oh my God, this happened. It was kind of just like, oh yeah, I watched that show. Oh yeah, I like it. It's really good. I feel like once it became like really like mainstream, it was kind of like this secret that like people really wanted to talk about all of a sudden, and all of a sudden like everyone knew what Game of Thrones was, and that was probably like after maybe season 4, I guess it really probably picked up in production as well, and everyone just knew about it, and I think the actors as well were becoming like well known actors, and I guess they were having more screen time and all that kind of stuff too. So yeah, I just remember kind of watching the first few seasons and kind of talking to people about it, but I never remember getting into in-depth conversations that I do with people now about the show.
Yeah, well, for us, it was, I remember it perfectly. I can't remember, I don't remember specifically who at uni was talking about it, but the Battle of Blackwater had just happened.
Right.
So that's season 2, episode 9. That had just happened, and obviously that was a massive milestone for television in general, man. That, like, the way that was staged and the budget was massive for a TV show. So obviously people were talking about it, and I'm like, dude, like, this sounds awesome. We're gonna get back on this train. And we got back, and I'm telling you, man, it was at least like 1 year. Must have been a good whole year before we started it, and then we decided to pick it up again. So, but yeah, man, I fucking love it now. It is, it truly is a testament to the golden age of TV that we're in, because again, Breaking Bad was I
feel like Game of Thrones, it came at a good time, like you were just saying. It really came at a good time, and I think it really saved TV. If you think about it, like we'll talk about it probably a little bit more in the next part. But I really think Game of Thrones saved a lot of TV, and people really got into investing in TV a lot more, even production companies, and it definitely changed the way and changed what was being made, because everyone obviously wanted their supplements when Game of Thrones season wasn't on. And so you've got all of a sudden you've got all these Viking type shows that are now so popular and being produced, and that definitely would have an effect of the success from Game of Thrones. That's for sure.
Right. It just created like this domino effect, and people needed something like to fill that vacuum, that whole 1 year of waiting for the next season.
Exactly.
So, yeah. But yeah, man, I remember this, like, specifically 2012, 2013, like that whole Breaking Bad was wrapping up, Dexter was wrapping up, that terrible ending of Dexter, Jesus Christ.
We don't talk about that.
No, we don't. We only talk about season 4 Dexter. But yeah, it was an incredible time, and it still is an incredible time, man. Like, I have never been this excited for a final season of a TV show, man. Like, it feels like an event. Just quickly,
it's kind of like a sports event. Like, like everyone's going to be watching it.
Everyone's going to be watching it, and that's how it's like you said. I think it was season 4. It might even been season 3 with the Red Wedding. Everyone was talking about it at the same time, so it's just like
I do remember. I must have been caught up by the time I went to uni as well, because I do remember I had university on a Monday, and
me too.
Yeah, and I had university on a Monday, and my uni was at Kingswood. And Kingswood was about an hour away from where I lived. So I would have like a morning or afternoon class, and then I would want to get home so badly and so quickly. And I would not go on Instagram, Facebook, anything, because I did not want to get spoilers from Game of Thrones. So I remember, like, after like 4:00 on a Monday, just not looking at my phone, getting on that shuttle bus and trying to like just be entertained all the way home.
God,
and then
that
finally
fucking shuttle bus.
Yeah. And then trying to find a link and finally like watch the Game of Thrones. That's actually one memory I do fondly have of the first few seasons.
Like, seriously, I completely empathize with that, because the episode would come out while we were at uni.
Yes.
And while we were in class. So it's like, because I would go back to Chris's place and watch it. We live literally like a kilometer away from each other. So yeah, man, we'd he had the quicker internet, so he'd download it, and we'd just sit there in the darkness and watch it, man. It was awesome. Same with Breaking Bad, same with Dexter, but even The Office when it was wrapping up around that time as well. So, yeah, man, again, fantastic television, and look, I'm really excited to talk about it, man. Jill, what do you say we kick it off with season 1?
Let's get started.
Fucking awesome. Can you imagine if I said, Jill, let's kick it off with season 3?
I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah. So, okay, it kicks off with a bang, right? With these White Walkers at the start, kind of like we get the White Walkers so fucking quick. Like, you know what I mean?
And like on the rewatch, I have watched season 1 to 4 probably. Look, I'm going to admit from the very beginning, both Zoe and I, we both said that we're not people that really like read forums and really look into the show, because I find watching Game of Thrones is like I'm just a viewer of the TV show. That's the product that I have invested time into. So I'm
exactly
more like, so I will just watch the TV show. Like I said, I haven't read the books. I don't read forums or like fan theories or anything like that. So probably what we're going to say as well is just mainly like us being like audience members of the TV show. And that's what something I remember from like you said, season 1, episode 1, we get introduced to White Walkers, and rewatching the first few seasons, you're like, holy shit, they started with this stuff from the very beginning. Like,
right.
Mind blown.
The setup was there.
Yeah.
And to hit on like what you said about, you know, not reading forums and just taking it from the TV show, the product that we're given, that, dude, I totally, yeah, like you said, I'm 100% on board with that, because Matt, when I host this show with Matt, the upcoming attractions episode, Matt loves to get into, you know, set videos and spoilers and leaks and things like that. And pretty much 99% of the time, I'm just like, Matt, can we just not? Like, can we? I love you, Matt, but I'm just like, I want to take the product as it is. I don't want to go in with this, like, I don't want to go in with this, like, preconceived notion or anything like that, or expectations even, and I don't want to be disappointed. So,
yeah, and look, I get that for some reason. People like reading the spoilers and they like being somewhat in the know of what's going to happen. For me, I like the surprise. I like knowing like what the hell is going to happen next. And so far, I always been surprised by what they've thrown at us by Game of Thrones standards. So I'm just going to keep doing that. Maybe after it's all wrapped up, it will be comical to see what people thought and predicted. But at the minute, I'm fine. Just, you know, show me what it's about, but I don't need to research any further or look into fan theories or anything like that. It's enough. Like, the whole series is enough for me.
Right. And like the whole series, it's deep enough to be more than enough. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it goes back centuries to the point where they're even making a prequel series. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Dude, every time. Okay, so I actually did read the book for season 1.
Oh, nice.
The Game of Thrones or a Game of Thrones. I can't remember. But yeah, so this is the season that I'm most familiar with,
Right.
because it's the most faithful to the book as well. I did start the second one, A Clash of Kings, but I got bored. That book is just boring, man.
Right.
And then I never went back to it.
Fair enough.
I've read this entire season in whole, so it's great. But dude, every time I go back and watch season 1, which I have seen quite a few times, I've rewatched this show probably at least 3 times altogether.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm always blown away by how young everyone is.
Yeah.
It's like jumping into a time capsule.
Yeah, it totally is. Like seeing, but like that's a testament to the casting and to the actors themselves too, that like they are just so still well suited for that role, and they've been able to grow in their character along the way. And the casting, I mean, yeah, the casting's great. Like again, rewatching it, and like I liked Bran. Like, he was a good character, but he wasn't someone I was like, oh my god, he's like up there. But on the rewatch, he's really like he's really taken the spotlight from me, because obviously you get the obvious like standouts, you know, Kit Harington and stuff like that, Jon Snow's character and whatever. But I think for the rewatch, like to be Bran, to cast Bran as well, they did a really good job, I feel, with that.
They did a great job. But the MVP for season 1 for me has to be Ned. I mean, Sean Bean,
yeah.
man.
I mean, yeah, they did a great casting overall.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sean Bean was actually the only actor that I knew before jumping into Game of Thrones, because he's a big name in Hollywood. But yeah, man, I just love the way he carries himself, and he was born for a role like this commanding yet this guy who has a softer side.
Like
it's fantastic.
Underdog. Yeah.
Yeah. And Robert Baratheon, played by Mark Addy.
Yeah.
He was Fred Flintstone.
It was so weird because I saw the actor and I was like, I know him. Where do I know him from? So crazy.
But basically, in this first season, you get this visit from Robert, who basically asks Ned to be Hand of the King. And I love watching this first season because there's so many like little sparks that start the fire.
Yeah.
Like, asking to be Hand of the King, and then Bran being pushed out of the window, and then him being like the assassination attempt. Man, it's like the setup to it is all beautiful. So you get Stark's daughters, Sansa and Arya, traveling with him to King's Landing, but they find the corrupt city-state in disarray. And then we meet Cersei. Oh man, Lena Headey. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, great actress. Amazing.
Just across all 7 seasons, man, she is incredible.
Like the fact that like I physically hate that character, and like, I think I'm a pretty mature viewer. Like when I don't like a character, you kind of just like, it's even quite comical. But Cersei Lannister is just the purest of evils, and she just plays it so well.
Absolutely, man. Like she like Game of Thrones does its villains so well, man. Like it does its villains so well, but it's really, honestly, as crazy. Like we get Joffrey, we get Ramsay. None of them are able to topple the despicableness that is Cersei. For me, like she's just fantastic. So Bran witnesses Cersei in bed with her brother Jaime, but they're not really in bed. They're kind of like in a little watchtower. Jaime's great as well, man. Nicola, I'm going to fuck up his name. Nicola Costa-Waldau?
Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah, sure. But that was, I remember watching that, man. Like, that was super shocking when that happened. I was like not expecting it.
Yeah.
This is like that first kind of like
That's it.
moment.
I remember watching the first season and being like, holy shit, this is like pushing boundaries. This is a bit risky in every sense of the word. Like not just the sex scenes or the brothels, but like the violence and just like they were pushing boundaries in every genre and every element that they were doing, and that was definitely and that's like, again, like you said, this is the first episode and we see incest straight away, and we see Tyrion in the brothel, and it's just, you see a lot.
Yeah, and a kid being pushed out a window for sure.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not just risk. It's also like what the series is kind of like defined by, this unpredictableness of like who will die and who won't die. Even though Bran doesn't die here, the
violence is always there from the very beginning. Like
exactly.
That threat is always there.
Right. So Tyrion accompanies Ned's bastard son, Jon Snow. Again, Tyrion, fantastic, man. Peter Dinklage is incredible.
Amazing.
And Jon Snow, I did not like Jon Snow from the start.
Oh, really? You thought, here we go, another brooding underdog character?
Yeah. He still broods. Like I'm on season 7 now in my rewatch, and he's still brooding. Yeah. But I love where his character's kind of like started to where he's ended up. Like they did that journey very, very well.
Yes, I feel like his character development everyone's character development is really well, but he's made a lot of sense of where he came from, who he is, the honor, because, and that's the thing that Game of Thrones does right, is there's a lot of, on the surface, very cliche storylines, like we'll say the broody underdog type who's like the outcast of his family, and he comes to be a hero and respected amongst his peers. Like that sounds really corny and lame and so predictable, but you believe it because of the writing and the directing of Game of Thrones, and you believe in Jon
and the performances.
And the performances, obviously. So, and you believe his storylines, and you go, you know what? He is the greatest fighter because you've seen him fight and live and not live to tell the tale kind of thing.
Definitely. So Tyrion's also imprisoned in the Vale because Catelyn believes that he was behind Bran's fall. And, man, how crazy. Lysa Arryn? Jesus Christ. And her son, what's the son's name again?
Yeah.
Fuck no. He's
Oh
a weirdo,
God,
man.
yeah, yeah, you've got me there. But yeah, that was a
Yeah.
bit of a weird storyline, wasn't it?
With the moon door, and this is kind of like our first instance of, like, trial by combat, and it's the first of a couple of trial by combats for Tyrion. And basically Bronn, this is where we meet Bronn. Dude, I never realized, like, Bronn has been in it from the
I
start,
know.
like
See, this
season
is the
one.
thing. On the rewatch, you're like, holy shit, these characters have been here for so long.
Yeah. I love Bronn, man. Bronn's fucking fantastic.
Hope he gets his castle one day.
You know what? I just watched. Look, it's gonna come up a few times, but I just watched Spoils of War, where they like take Harrenhal. Sorry, High Guard, and Jamie's like, you're not getting the castle.
Yeah.
Oh boy, but I love that he's in it for the money. Like like he says that he's in it for the money, but really, you do see like moments where he gets invested in it. He's kind of like a Han Solo type. Like Episode 4, Star Wars. Han Solo was like, I'm going to rescue the princess for money, but then, like, he comes out right at the end and he's like, I'm emotionally attached, and yeah, it's great. I do love that story arc, even though Bronn is a supporting character. But yeah, so Robert is fatally wounded in a hunting accident by a boar. And Ned is named Protector of the Realm until Cersei's sadistic son Joffrey, played by Jack Gleason, comes of age. Wow, Joffrey, man.
Yeah, what a character. Like, we could go in another hour and talk about that character, but
we could, man.
Amazing actor as well. You've got to hand it to the actors. Again, like Lena Headey, when you physically and just really emotionally hate a character, they've won you over, and that's exactly what he did too. He made everyone hate him, so he did his job. Tick. He's done it. Like,
and I don't think a show, any other TV show, has done it quite as well as Game of Thrones. Like Breaking Bad, you did get those terrible, hateable characters, especially, spoiler, Walt, by the end of it. But that was very short. Like, it was probably, although you do see his gradual decline over the period of seasons, you don't get villains like Game of Thrones. And man, I think that like Cersei's always been bad and she's always been sadistic, but Joffrey is a whole nother level. Like, because he's a child.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense. Like, you never question why Joffrey is the way that he is because of his whole family situation, like of his mother, and there's rumors about his mother and his uncle. Like, I'm sure they've all heard it, and he's aware, and I think also if that character was to stay on, he would just be I guess another Ramsay. He would just be a psychopath, and he would be just as much as a villain as Cersei is now. So yeah, testament to the actor for sure, because and this is what the thing about Game of Thrones that gets me is they're really gory, horrific scenes that you might wince at, but you don't, because of just the way that it's done. And all of Joffrey's scenes you could easily wince at or close your eyes and look away, but you didn't, because you wanted to see what he was doing, and it was done in a way that wasn't too overwhelming or anything like that. His scenes were
it's like watching a beautiful car crash, right? Like, you want to look away, but you can't because you're so damn invested in it.
Yeah, and I remember watching some of his scenes the first time, and I just remember being like not sighing, but just like, oh my God, this guy's pure evil kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. And you know what? You do bring up quite an interesting point, because Tommen and Myrcella, Cersei's other two children,
seemingly innocent.
Seemingly innocent, and they are, for the most part, they don't do anything as terrible as Joffrey. They don't do anything terrible at all, to be honest. They are purely good characters. And I think that might be down to the fact that they're not old enough to understand the uncle versus, the uncle having relationships with their mother. Like, I don't think.
Well, I think. Sorry, what was the daughter's name again?
Marcella.
Marcella, that's it. Marcella kind of knew because when Jamie kind of told her, she was kind of like, it's okay. Like, so she seemed calm about it, but she was probably very young when that kind of, like you said, that kind of stuff happened. So maybe being away from her family kind of was just like, oh, you know, I'm happy. So maybe a clearer mind made her a bit more content with that. And the same with Tommen. I think because maybe Cersei had a lot of time with Joffrey, like just it was Joffrey and Cersei for a lot of the time. Maybe Tommen was a bit too young, and again but Tommen would have been a bad king because he was so easily influenced, and you can see what that led to as well. So he had his own faults. Like, he wasn't an evil person, but he wouldn't have been a great king. And, well, I guess he wasn't in a way because I think he was too much of a pushover. He was, I guess, kind of the opposite to Joffrey in a way because it was like Joffrey was hard to manage, whereas Tommen was just so malleable. Like, you could kind of just like, just tell him to do anything and he would just be like, oh, okay, I trust you. Let's just do it that way kind of thing.
And that element is definitely explored by the writers. You know, you got that clash between Marjorie and Cersei with like Tommen in the middle, like later.
Exactly.
It's definitely explored. So basically, the big sort of thing in this season is Ned discovering that Joffrey he's, you know, what is it, golden of hair. And he discovers that he might not be Robert's son, but is instead his bastard. Sorry, not his bastard, but Cersei and Jaime's bastard.
Yes.
And basically, Ned plans to install Stannis Baratheon, who is the king's estranged brother, in his stead. So I can't recall if we meet Stannis in the first season. I don't think we do.
Oh, we don't?
But we do hear about him.
Okay.
No. I know we do hear about him because I think in season 2 he's introduced via that fucking beach fire.
Yes, he's
scene.
Definitely. Yeah, true.
Yeah. So, man, like that whole storyline about, you know, when Ned finds out that, you know, Joffrey's a bastard. It's great. The whole reveal is fantastic, and Stannis, like. Because you do find yourself like double checking it. I do remember pulling up Wikipedia and looking back and seeing whether Stannis was the rightful heir to the throne. And technically, from what Ned knows, yes, but really it's Daenerys.
Right.
Because he doesn't know that Daenerys is alive and things like that. So it should be Stannis from Ned's point of view. But yeah, also like during this season, we also have Daenerys, like I said, who gets wedded to Khal Drogo, dude, a young Jason Momoa.
Yeah, season 1.
It's fucking wild to see these like actors who have
even Emilia Clarke, like her face, because I just finished season 8. Her face in season 1, like she's so much. I guess it's 10 years ago, really. Like so, they're all significantly younger in the first few seasons than they are now. Such baby faces. So yeah, so cute.
Well, Daenerys is supposed to be like 14 years old in the book.
Yeah, exactly. So she does look quite young. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically, you know, that first season you get Drogo dying and the birth of the 3 dragons.
Holy shit, I just realized that all happens in season 1. Holy shit.
It's packed. And you know what? I was just about to bring up, I always thought season 1 ended with Ned's beheading, but it doesn't. It ends with Daenerys' the unburnt rising out of the ashes and the 3 dragons on her shoulders. I remember thinking when I first saw that season, I'm like, there's no way they're gonna get big, you know? They're like, this is a TV show. This is a TV show. Come on.
Well, that's like me because again, I just watched the first season and I didn't really talk about it with anyone else. Like I just kind of watched it, so I had no idea.
That's why you're here, Jill.
But I had no idea what it was and what was going on, and so I didn't think it was obviously a true story or history or anything like that. But for me, I couldn't pigeonhole what the genre kind of was. And as soon as I saw those dragons, I was like, oh, we're playing on another level now. I see how it is. So from then on, I feel like obviously the White Walkers and all that kind of stuff, that was, you get zombie movies and all that kind of stuff. So it's stuff that we've seen before. But like when I saw, Daenerys being like burnt and then the dragons being born, you're kind of like, all right, I see how it is.
Yeah. There are a few elements of like of supernatural stuff that happens in the first season before we get to the dragons, like when John's at the wall and you get that scene with the white. I believe, and I can't remember who kills it. But basically, it's just like one of the dead. Like it just comes out of the forest.
Oh yes. Sorry, yeah.
Because remember one of the wolves or the dogs has the hand in its mouth.
Yes. Yeah. But it's kind of like, and obviously you see dragons before and stuff like that. But yeah, to see the White Walkers, you're kind of like, we're kind of used to seeing zombie movies and shit like that. So as much as the production was great, you're kind of like, okay, I've seen this stuff before. But then it's just like, again, the beheading. Like, see, and normally in a TV show or even a movie, you kind of get beheaded and you kind of have that cutaway shot, the next scene, or like, the reactions of people's faces. And they did kind of do that, but also you see a lot of heads get cut off in this show.
Oh yeah, and mounted on spikes.
Yes.
Yeah, man, like that was another thing, just this kind of like killing off of your seemingly main character.
Yeah.
Like that was wild, man. Yeah. It just, like I said, it so quickly sets up that nobody is safe in this show.
That's true. And the fact that they didn't end that on Ned, it's kind of, you kind of go, when you first watch it, you're kind of going like, so was he a main character? Like, yeah, you're kind of like, why didn't they end it there? Like, what's going on? Because they just weren't predictable. And that's something that I've liked watching the show, is it's normally the second last episode, which is kind of the battle scene, and then you get the politics afterwards, which is the final, which are just as engaging and as thrilling as the actual battle scenes. But I really like how you have a full, pretty much nearly a full show of like a battle, and then you get the politics afterwards. I think they've done that really well too.
Yeah, that's going to come up in our last in our next part, I think, because
we have to talk
because I did look at who's directing each episode.
Yes.
And I mean, like, you can kind of assume, like, from what episodes, from which directors are directing which episodes, you kind of know what episodes you're getting. So
yeah, true.
I'll get to that eventually, but yeah, the way Ned goes out, it's fantastic, and it's just like you said, game changer, because you're not expecting Sean Bean. I mean, look, Sean Bean dies and everything. Okay, let's just should have seen that coming, but still,
the main character.
Yeah, the main character, and like everything just seems all doom and gloom for the good guys. Oh, it's
and that's where I
beautiful.
think you really, like, you kind of see the Lannisters as this really weird, awful family, but that's when you kind of go, oh, these people are evil. Like, these are not good people.
Totally, 100%. You ready to move on to season 2?
Yes.
So, season 2, Tyrion takes up the post of the Hand of the King in the hope of reining in Joffrey, right?
Yeah.
And we meet Stannis on that beach, that incredible introduction scene. Like, on the beach, and people are getting fucking burned at the stake. We meet Melisandre, who is played by the beautiful Clarice Van Houten. Man, every time she got her tits out, I got it. Hey, man, I told you, me and Chris watched this together. We were always just like, yes!
That would have been so... Oh, really? I would have found that really awkward. My partner...
Oh, no.
My partner actually said he used to watch Game of Thrones with his mum, and I'm like, I don't know if I could do that. Like, there's like vivid rape scenes and incest and boobs, yeah, I couldn't do that. I just watched it alone in my bedroom with my laptop and my door closed, so...
See, what I would do is like I'd watch it the night it came out at Chris's place, and then sometime later during the week I'd show it to my dad. But at that point, I knew what was coming, so I was like, fast forward.
That's the thing. I actually have told my dad to watch it, and when I was living at home too, I was like, oh, you need to watch this show. It's really good. And he's like, oh yeah, we'll watch it. I'm like, no, you watch it. Like I ain't watching it with you. You watch it by yourself. That's all good.
Right. And Rob,
Yay.
played by Mr. Marsden. I'm forgetting his first name.
Richard Madden, isn't it?
Richard fucking Madden.
Where did you get
I said
Marsden
Marsden.
from? Wait,
I don't know.
am I saying it right?
Know.
Richard.
No, that's right. Richard Madden.
Yeah.
A lot of people want him to play Batman, which is interesting.
But, the voice, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. He's got the Bruce Wayne look, I think.
Yeah. That classic kind of like chiseled look, I guess, too.
Did you watch The Bodyguard?
Yes, it was fucking good.
It was good? Okay, I'll watch it. Because, my dad was watching that.
I did read some reviews on it after I watched it because, again, I don't really like reading things before I watch things. But I did read some reviews, and I kind of agree. Like, a few episodes were a little bit slow, but it's good. It's good. Anyway, side story.
I'll get to it. I'll get to it. So Rob's armies progress south with Jaime Lannister as the prisoner of war. Rob sends Theon Greyjoy. Theon, by the way, played by Alfie Allen.
Oh,
awesome.
So good. Can I tell you a random factoid about
Please.
Alfie Allen? So Alfie Allen is the brother of Lily Allen. I'm sure maybe some people know that. Okay, cool. And my dad actually really liked Lily Allen like a lot. He really was into Triple J and all that kind of stuff. So I would listen to Lily Allen when I was like 10 or whatever. And Lily Allen had a song or has a song out, and it's I'm going to forget it now, but it's called Alfie. And it was she wrote a song pretty much dedicated to her brother about how her brother does nothing, just sits around all day smoking pot. And she kind of is saying like, I wish you'd go get a job or whatever. And well,
Holy
here you go.
shit.
We got Theon out of it. So thanks, Lily.
Holy shit, that's crazy.
Yeah.
This is why we have you on the podcast, Jill.
For those
that's
random
great.
factoids. You're welcome.
That's awesome. I did not, it's funny because, he cops so much shit throughout this series.
Yeah, he's a brave actor to take on this role, that's for sure.
He is. And I'm sure there is I can't remember because I haven't finished season 7 yet, but I'm sure there's a moment of, redemption coming up for him. There must be.
I think look, there is. I'm sure once you get to it, you'll remember it. But maybe there's a bigger redemption still to come. But I still feel like he will never get that big redemption. He got a little bit of a redemption, saving Sansa and stuff like that.
Saving Sansa,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, I think Theon, I feel like he's got to work his way back up again. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, yeah, especially because he left his sister to fucking what's his name, right?
Yes. But yeah, again, we'll talk about that in the next part.
Yeah. It's so tough to stay on target.
Hold back.
So Theon betrays Rob and reunites with his family on the Iron Islands, and together they capture Winterfell, don't they?
Rookie mistake.
And sorry, I don't have it here, but what's Theon's sister's name again?
Oh shit. I don't know. Don't ask me complicated questions about a TV show that we're talking about.
Everyone's Yara. Jesus
Yara.
Christ. Everyone's fucking yelling at their speakers right now. They're like, Yara.
Idiots.
Yeah, I will never get the scene out of my head when he's kind of rubbing her on the horse. I'm just like, ugh, that's gross.
What really grossed me out is she was letting him, and I was just like, ugh.
She goes along with it. She plays along with it.
Probably wanted to just gross him out, which I don't know whether to be grossed out by or just respect her, but I'm just like, okay, cool.
The Iron Islanders are kind of fucked up.
They're kind of savages, aren't they? In a way,
they are.
Yeah.
They're they're kind of like the wildlings of the actual mainland. Yeah.
Yeah. True.
So Bran is forced to escape into the wilderness while Theon captures these two farm boys and says that they're Bran and Rickon, which is, as sad as it is, but it's still fucked up. And he has to wear this for a few seasons. This goes on. A lot of people think that he actually did burn Bran and Rickon. Man, that is it truly, like, when you see those two burnt bodies, it is kind of harrowing.
And that's another like moment again in a TV series where you're like, all right, they're not here to play. This is a serious show, and this is it. Like, yeah, when Theon did that, I think that was his like they took over Winterfell and stuff like that. But that was his biggest act of violence, and he started off with a pretty brutal one.
Yeah, man. Because also, you can't forget that he had something to prove as well. He had to prove that he had to uphold his namesake, like, because he's been a captive of the Starks for so long, and he's like, I gotta get the Greyjoy name going again.
True.
But yeah, so Robb sends Catelyn out to meet with Renly Baratheon. So I was not expecting like the gay scenes to. I mean, like, I don't have anything to against.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, absolutely not. But like, for a TV show,
it was pretty open, wasn't it? Because like
it was pretty open.
Like,
yeah.
You watch some,
good on them, to be honest.
I don't know, medieval or whatever shows, and they kind of skirt about it, or it's kind of risque or whatever. But it seems like this is just the life that these people led, and it wasn't romanticized, it was just what it was, which I think
it was just there.
It was probably the best way to go about it. It wasn't like, it wasn't romanticized or anything like that. It just happens to be a part of who Renly was, kind of thing. Which obviously
100%,
I guess became a big deal.
And they don't make it a thing. Yeah. And it's with we should also mention that it's with Loras Tyrell. Yes. Played by Finn Jones, who is probably most known for Iron Fist now, more than anything.
True. It's crazy how some of these actors go on to other things.
Exactly. But while Catelyn's there, this fucking vagina devil murders Renly.
Vagina devil, love it. I'm going to refer to her as that from now on.
Dude, that was, I remember that being such an out there scene. Like when she bursts it, like in that sewer, and I was just like, what is happening?
I was like, what am I watching? Is this,
I also don't want to go past the fact that Davos is there as well. Like, Davos is awesome, dude.
Oh, I love Davos. He's
become
one of my favorites for sure.
Totally. And we're actually about to get to one of my favorite characters of all time, dude. Fucking Brienne of Tarth.
Gosh,
how
she's
incredible is she? How incredible is Gwendolyn Christie, dude?
Yeah, I was just about to say the actress, again, perfect for the role. She's just amazing, and kind of like Theon in a way. I guess all of these roles as an actor, you have to be really self-aware of what you're getting yourself into in terms of the image that you're going to portray for the next 10 years. And she's just a great actress, and great scenes. Oh, I would love to. Her scenes are all just so amazing, and she must have had so much fun doing all of that as well.
Absolutely, man. Like the Gwendolyn Christie's fantastic, but I also love where they take this character.
Yes.
Oh, just quickly, Gwendolyn Christie. She was so good in this, man, that a lot of people were like really disappointed by how very sparingly used she was in Star Wars Episode 7. Like, everyone was like, oh my god, who's she playing? Like, she's going to be the next Boba Fett. But like, yeah, she was barely in it.
Oh my god, she would be an amazing, main actress in Star Wars. Yeah, damn.
Absolutely.
I'm with that.
And then, unfortunately, they did waste her. I do agree they did waste her a bit. They brought her back in the latest one, The Last Jedi, but it's still a bit disappointing. Yeah, still disappointing. But yeah, man, I love what they do with Brienne's character. Like, she is one of the only characters in the entire show who is still alive that has been purely good the entire time.
Purely good. And again, you get a bit of a sense of her backstory as well, which is again sort of heartbreaking but humble at the same time. Like, she just wants to be a fucking knight, and she respects and admires the people that she fights beside and that she's a part of, and she just wants to be one of them, kind of thing. And I think that's why she's probably so celebrated as the character, is because, like you said, she's just a good person and she's just a good character. And amazing actress. You can't fault that.
And she's so dedicated to keeping her oath. She's so loyal. Like she goes to insane lengths to to uphold this oath that she gives Catelyn, like protecting her daughters. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Still to this season that we're up to, she keeps
still going.
Still going.
Yeah. So basically Catelyn and Brienne are accused of assassinating Renly. And so, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm fucking lost here. Okay, so at the Wall, Jon Snow uncovers evidence of sacrifices at Craster's Keep. Craster's a fucking crazy bastard, man.
He's a bit of a weird one, isn't he?
Like, yeah, we haven't been. I don't know if we've been introduced to Walder Frey yet. I think we are in this season actually, because you get Rob meeting Walder about the wedding and all that. So yeah, like Walder and Craster, to have both of them introduced to us at the same time, it's just like a race to who can like make you shudder more. Like, oh man.
Yeah. But again, I guess that goes back to like these people were probably savages, you know, they're just living in their own way, like not being bothered by passers-by or like society. They're just in their own kind of castles or homes, and I guess they've just gotten really used to being in their own company and not having to change for anyone else, and that's probably why they're just a bit cringy at times.
Totally, man, and creepy as shit. Like
creepy
this
as
is
shit, yeah.
So creepy, man. Of course, this is also where we meet. I mean, like we've already met Sam. Sam's already a major character. But this is where he meets Gilly and kind of sets into motion a whole chain of events.
Again, Gilly, season 2. She's there from season 2. Crazy.
I know. Fucking crazy, dude. Insane. But this is also where Jon kind of defects from the Night's Watch, right? Like he kind of goes. Well, he doesn't really defect. He gets captured by the wildlings, right? Yeah.
I remember the first time I watched this season, I remember thinking like the whole time, like, why? I don't like it. Like, I don't know what they're trying to do. But of course, like Game of Thrones does, it gives you a reason. Like he needs to, obviously he spends that time with the wildlings that is so important, and so like it just sets up again the rest of the series. And if it wasn't for this season where he spends that time with the wildlings, he wouldn't have them with him now, kind of thing.
Right. Well, yeah, because like when you're watching it, you're like, why are they spending so much time on this? Like, why are we meeting Mance Rayder?
I just remember them like always like walking, just so many walking scenes, and I'm like, what are they doing?
It's like Lord of the Rings. Yeah. Yeah, but it's not like it's not until when you watch it with a retrospective mindset
you totally
that you realize like
it. Yeah,
man, like the writing is fucking tight from the beginning.
You can't fault it. You can't.
That being said, man, I think season like as epic as, you know, the latest season is and season 6, as epic as they are, I think this and season 3 might be my favorite seasons.
Oh, that's a big claim. I don't know what my favorite season are yet. Yeah, tell me why. What's your reasons?
2 words: Charles Dance. Dude, Tywin Lannister is fucking incredible, man. Charles Dance, every scene he's in, he commands it, man. Like he takes it and runs with it. Like this entire thing with Arya like being a kind of like a handmaiden to Tywin is all fantastic. It's beautiful.
You're tense the whole time. I don't know if you were, but I was. Every time they were in the same room together, it's kind of like, he knows. Does he know? No, he doesn't know. And you're just like the whole, and he's another, I guess it's the Lannister effect as well. Like he was another character that I was just, you felt, this guy is not good. He is like, he had evil in him as well, but he did it in such a political way that he probably would have been a good king, because he was the politician, I felt like.
Well, you're right, but like the good thing that Game of Thrones also does as well is like it kind of like makes you empathize with the villains. Like even though Tywin is a villain, you see where he's coming from. Like, he is all about protecting his bloodline.
Yeah.
Like, he is all about, like, perpetuating his family and making the reputation of the family, like, you know, stand up above every other family. Like, it works so well, especially, like, the next season where, you know, he does become the hand of the king and he starts making all these decisions on, like, based on the family. Like, you know, Cersei will wed fucking what's his name, and Tyrion will wed
and you know
Sansa.
What? Like, you trust it because, like, you know, sometimes you want to question everything, you know. But when he made decisions, it's kind of like, well, yep. Like, that's why I felt like he was the politician, because if he was making the decisions, I was like, he must have a solid reason for doing this. So when we find out that Cersei has to marry and all that kind of stuff, you're kind of like, well, I'm sure something's going to happen from this. He's going to gain obviously something from this.
Exactly. That man and Charles Dance scares the shit out of me.
Yes,
like,
he's fucking evil. He's scary.
He is. I guarantee you, Maisie is it Maisie Williams?
Maisie Williams, yeah.
She probably had nightmares looking into his face, man. Like, he's scary as shit.
Yeah. It was so
basically
weird. I've seen him on a few British, like, panel shows and stuff like that, and it's so weird seeing him being like just a normal British guy and being quite polite and quite like well mannered, and I'm just like, nah, I don't know. This is so weird.
Well, first thing I seen him in was in Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He played the villain.
Great.
And it was just so, like, you know, over the top and goofy, but he was one of the best parts of that movie. That movie's not great, but he knows exactly what movie he's in. He's also going to be in the upcoming Godzilla movie. Like, in the trailer, he has one line. He has one line, and the line is "Long live the king."
Oh my god, that's amazing.
That's got to be for the fans, right? Like, that's awesome.
Gotta be, especially when it's just one line. That's just got to be
one line. So basically, this is where at Harrenhal, you know, you do get Littlefinger. By the way, Littlefinger.
Yeah, again,
played by Aidan Gillen.
Another
awesome
character you love to hate. Yeah,
you love to hate, and you don't really know what his intentions are.
Yeah, I remember just not being able to figure him out was so frustrating in the first few seasons. Like, especially 1 to 4, you're like, who is this guy? And he was in like nearly every scene with Sansa and the Lannisters and stuff like that. So you're like, okay, he must have importance, but you couldn't put your finger on him just yet. Like, and it was really, I think, frustrating. But again, that's probably what they made you feel like, the people interacting with Littlefinger. It's like, I think he's important, so I need him on my side, but I have no idea what this actually will give me in return.
Yeah, well, especially because he had that backstory with Catelyn. Like, he was very much in love with her, and that, you know, that's supposedly what takes him on this whole journey with Sansa. But another character that I love the scenes that with Littlefinger like is in with, and we haven't really talked about him at all, is Varys, played by Conleth Hill. Dude, Varys is also a Littlefinger-like character where we have no idea where his real allegiances lie. Like, he says all the time that he's like, my allegiances lie with the realm.
Yeah.
But it's like, I can see that for sure, especially in the season 7 episode that I just watched, where basically Daenerys is kind of like dressing him down.
Yes,
and she's like,
that amazing scene. Yeah,
amazing scene. That's episode 2, season 7. But yeah, like, you don't really know what his intentions are, but I think Varys, you can kind of figure out a bit more because I
always just assumed he was kind of like a people pleaser. Like, he was just there for his own survival. So whatever he had to do to survive, like, he just was there. And I guess, you know, that's what made him live up to where we are now. Yeah, I just always assumed he was just kind of there to always be on hand and provide, because he had the, you know, all the whispers and all that kind of stuff. So I just assumed he was kind of like the people's news, and in relating that to the realm and making sure that, I guess, his own survival. I think he knew his skill and he thought, okay, how can I use this skill in order for me to survive, kind of thing.
Right, because he doesn't look like much of a fighter.
No, I don't think so. No.
Yeah, that and he has no balls. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't fight
He's
with
not
no
making
balls.
any. Yeah. This is also where we get Arya's Aya's.
I say Arya.
I say Arya too, but I've also heard it pronounced Arya.
Arya. However you want to
Yeah.
say it, we'll just claim.
This is where she meets Jaqen Hagar, one of the
crazy.
faceless men of Essos.
And I remember watching that episode and just being like, okay, cool, she just met some guy who is an assassin.
Assassin, yeah.
But again, it comes back seasons after season later. She's still
Exactly
connected.
And like I want to see how that pays off. Like they've made Arya such a badass, man. Like if she
love her
doesn't put a knife to Cersei's throat, like come on,
she's got to have a big kill. I mean, you know,
she does.
She already has had some big kills, but she's got to have another big revengeful kill. And you know what? Again, we're talking too much about season 7, but I cannot wait for the
fray.
Yeah, I can't wait for Jon and Arya to meet again. Like, oh my god,
I just watched that episode too, man. Like, it's so hard.
I'm just waiting for them. So that's the one beautiful. I'm really looking forward to.
So Stannis attempts to invade King's Landing by sea, but his forces are defeated in a naval battle by Tyrion's cunning use of wildfire. Dude, this episode, titled Blackwater, episode 9, season 2, absolutely incredible.
Crazy.
Absolutely incredible. This was directed by... So I did mention earlier how you can kind of pick out which episodes are directed by who by looking at the directors. This is the first of 2 episodes directed by a guy named Neil Marshall. Neil Marshall is actually a pretty decent film director. He directed Dog Soldiers, which is a good like werewolf movie, but he also directed one of my favorite horror movies back in the day, The Descent. Did you ever see that?
No, I'm not much of a horror movie viewer. I respect it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. He's good, man. Like he's also directing the new Hellboy movie. He's announced for the new King Kong movie. But yeah, he also, does a lot of TV. Like he did Westworld as well. Again, HBO. But yeah, this entire episode, man, is the production value is insane.
And is this the first like real battle scene that we see as well? Because this is now Stannis has come to claim his right for the throne, and Joffrey. This must be the first.
This is it is.
I remember seeing it and being like just scared the whole time. Like I don't know who's going to die, who's going to live, and because you think Ned's gone, well, okay, who else are they going to cut off?
Yeah, well, early in this season, we got like 2 moments of battles about to happen. So you got that moment of Tyrion walking out and kind of getting knocked out straight away. Do you remember that? Like the battle with Jamie and Rob at Whispering Wood, I believe. Yeah, so that was a thing. But yeah, so this was, again, the big full-scale battle.
And this is where you see, like, I guess Tyrion really being the politician again. Yeah, and his character really, I think from here, was always great, but from here, that kind of drunk, funny, comical character simmered down a little bit, and this is where Tyrion started being more of the politician, and the more responsible Tyrion that we know now was probably from this battle on.
Absolutely, man. But like this, not only is this episode, not only is it like a massive action sequence, it's also showing us a lot about the characters. Like this is also a moment of Joffrey, like showing us how much of a bitch Joffrey is.
Yeah, when the push comes to shove, like, is he going to be this violent? Because he's a violent person behind doors. So you think he would love this shit kind of thing. But, yeah, again, you see his true colours and his little chicken shit.
Can I just talk about how amazing, like, the Battle of Blackwater starts? So it's just like, dude, it's so awesome. It's so tense because it's like, Stannis rocks up, King's Landing has no ships, and he's wondering why. and then like Tyrion is like standing at the wall, like at the reach, and he drops this torch, and the torch is a signal for Bronn, who's standing on a rock nearby, who fires a flaming arrow into the ocean, which is full of wildfire. Like it is
It's great, yeah,
so beautiful.
And and that's what I like too, is when, because all of these battle scenes are all thought out. Like they don't just come to war and hit like their swords together. There's some form of a tactic that's happening. And every battle scene you're expecting something too. You're like, again, you're not just going to have people running into each other. There's going to be some form of trickery or like gotcha kind of moment, and that's what I really look forward to in these battle scenes. And I think that's what Game of Thrones again has changed in TV, is don't just have battle scenes, have like epic proportions of revenge, and like just that wildfire was crazy.
Fucking awesome, right? It's absolutely beautiful. But this is also another sort of character defining moment, and again, someone we haven't really talked about. Sandor the Hound Clegane.
Hey.
Fuck the king, he says.
Great character.
Man, he is awesome, dude. I love this guy. And he's so hateable at the start, but then it's not until he again starts the show goes on. And man, I think one of my favorite moments of his again, we'll talk about it when we talk the next season, the next part.
Oh, God.
But the season 7 episode where, he goes back to that house and he buries those two the two dead people. It's fantastic.
Full serviced character.
Absolutely. So meanwhile, across the Narrow Sea, Daenerys arrives at Karth, hoping to gain support for her invasion of Westeros. She ends up imprisoned in the House of the Undying, along with the dragons. This is that whole sort of this happens. This is the first of many moments of the show where each season she kind of goes to a new city and she does something.
And she revolutionizes the city.
But by the third time it happens, it kind of, to me, it got a little bit repetitive. But
I remember when again she got captured by, holy shit! I just had a mental blank. What the hell? I just had the biggest mental blank when she gets captured by the Khal Drogo people.
Oh, the Dothraki.
Oh my God, what is wrong with me? Yeah,
the Khal Drogo people.
I know. Wow. I was like, words. What are words? When she gets captured again, and she does the whole flames again, and then she gets on a dragon and is like, "Come with me," blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, "Oh my God, this is so fucking boring, Danny. Write me a new storyline." But I guess watching it back, you're kind of like, no, I see. Like, I guess they really drilled into us that she has had some hardships and she has gone through the toughest times to gain. Like, there are people that follow her because of who she is and what she's done for them, and the dragons help kind of thing. And so she's got a lot of followers because she's done those things. She's revolutionized the cities, she's helped them, and she's conquered for them and all that kind of stuff. So I guess that's why she has like all the Dothraki, obviously all the Unsullied and all that kind of stuff, and all the popular vote, I guess you would say.
I just remembered something massive that happened in season 1 that we just blew by.
Yo, what?
The fucking Viserys and the Golden Crown.
Yes, again,
Dude.
Another moment where you're like, holy fucking shit, this Khal Drogo just pours melting gold on top of, and the head just like that. I remember that, like, he
Clunk.
just, yeah.
Yeah, man, wild.
And then I love Dany's reaction as well. Beautiful, like, just again a testament to who she's become in that short space of time and what she's ready for as well. Her process was just like, well, he wasn't the rightful king, so I definitely know I'm supposed to be on the crown then. So
it really is jarring to like see where they are now and going back. It's in Karth, she meets this guy Zara Zoan Doxos. I love the way this ends, like with him having nothing in the vault, and basically Daenerys like locking him and him and the girl that he was sleeping with from her crew in there. It's great. Yeah.
Very bitchy, very like XOXO, Gossip Girl.
Yeah.
Die in the vault.
Gossip Girl.
Gossip Girl, Game of Thrones. Oh my God. Make it happen.
Jesus Christ. Oh God, I'm out. See ya.
What's
so
up,
we're about
witches? Sorry.
I can't deal. This would be a great place to take a break. Just because, we've just finished season 2, so we've got 2 massive seasons coming up, and I really have to pee.
All right,
so
let's take a break.
let's take a break, guys. We'll be right back with more Game of Thrones coverage. Don't go anywhere.
I should have let Stannis kill you all.
Tyrion! Do you wish to confess?
Yes, Father. I'm guilty. Guilty? Is that what you want to hear?
Do you admit you poisoned the king?
No. Of that I'm innocent. I'm guilty of a far more monstrous crime. I'm guilty of being a dwarf.
You're not on trial for being a dwarf.
Oh, yes I am. I've been on trial for that my entire life.
Have you nothing to say in your defense?
Nothing but this. I did not do it. I did not kill Joffrey, but I wish that I had. Watching your vicious bastard die gave me more relief than 1,000 lying whores. I wish I was the monster you think I am. I wish I had enough poison for the whole pack of you. I would gladly give my life to watch you all swallow it.
Samarin! Samarin! Escort the prisoner back to his cell.
I will not give my life for Joffrey's murder, and I know I'll get no justice here, so I will let the gods decide my fate. I demand a trial by combat.
Hey guys, welcome back. We are back to covering Game of Thrones. We're going to dive right into season 3 and 4, but before we do that, Jill, we've been doing a terrible job of like covering Game of Thrones. Because how have we not talked about the music? Like,
right, yeah.
That's a
standalone.
I need to talk about, I'm going to butcher his name, Ramin Djawadi's score.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. I can't tell you otherwise. I would have no idea.
Man, this guy, like, especially this, like, I've been listening to it this entire week.
He must be fucking rolling in it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, man. Like, there's this, man, you can't do Game of Thrones without the music because the music alone makes it feel like a $100 million movie. Like, it feels epic
like it
all
was,
the time.
Yeah, like written obviously for the show, but it feels like the orchestra is just like there narrating you through it, kind of thing. Totally.
There are some amazing tracks. Like, mostly, I can't really name any towards the start of the show, but at the end, man, there's a track called "Shall We Begin," and it's basically when Daenerys arrives at Dragonstone. I was watching that on repeat. Like, it is barking beautiful, and also, of course, "In the Light of the Seven," which is that piano score that plays at the end of Winds of Winter at the end of season 6, so that's fantastic. But yeah, man, we couldn't go. I couldn't. I refused. I refused to. I had to stop the show to talk about the music of this because this is amazing, man. Like, this guy's done. He's done a lot of work as well. Like, he worked on Iron Man. Like, he worked on Clash of the Titans, Pacific Rim. Like, he's a big time movie.
Like one of those big action type of films. So, and of course, that incredible theme music, right? Like, I mean, like that theme music that you can't help but hum every time it comes on. It was my ringtone for about 2 years.
Oh, really?
And then I just like got too hyped over it. So I was like, I need to change this.
He also does the theme music and obviously the score for Westworld as well, which is I love that theme music. That Westworld theme song, that was my alarm to wake me up for ages because it's just so like calm.
True.
But yeah, let's dive right back into Game of Thrones. We're here at season 3. A fantastic season overall, man. Like this, back to back with season 2, it's incredibly powerful. I think for me, more than anything, the reason I like this 1-2 punch of season 2 and 3, although we have the big Battle of Blackwater, they're more focused on the politics side of things.
Yeah.
Instead of the action. And like I think I like that a bit more because like, you know, as much money as HBO have thrown Game of Thrones, it's still like
it still needs to have a good story, you know? It still needs to be compelling. Yeah.
And man, the politics of Game of Thrones can't be understated, especially in this season when, like I said, you know, the Battle of Blackwater ends with Tywin saving King's Landing, and season 3 is basically him becoming Hand of the King and taking charge and basically barking orders at everyone, right? Like that's him. So, like I said, Tyrion is demoted by Tywin, who hates Tyrion, who he blames him for causing his wife's death and childbirth. Fucking brutal, by the way, man.
Yeah.
Like this, I think it's in the first episode or the second episode, I can't remember. It's basically a conversation between Tyrion and Tywin, and it is insane. Like, it is electric.
As much as obviously we're never going to get scenes with those two together, those scenes together were very, very capturing in the way of you just knew there was so much. The tension in the air between the two was very real, and that's a testament to both of the actors for sure.
Definitely. And you know, not only that, but it also made you believe that Tyrion is someone who would kill Tywin in cold blood like that, like he does.
Yes, yes.
So Joffrey gets engaged to Marjorie Tyrell, played by my favorite actress of the entire show. And like, I mean, come on, like, you know why she's my favorite.
Or whatever you call her.
No. Oh, Melisandre? No, you know what? That's Chris's favorite actress.
Okay, I see.
And I'm just like, yeah, I mean, but Marjorie, come on. But yeah, Natalie Dormer's fantastic, man. And again, I didn't think, because this is not the first time we see her, she actually started in season 2. Like,
you do see
completely
her,
forgot.
Yeah.
I completely forgot that she is like in it from way back then. Because she's also kind of, you know, giving counsel to Renly. There's that scene where she tries to get him hard, and you know, he's just left with fucking what's his name, with her brother. But yeah, she's great. I really, really like Marjorie.
I feel like she was like, there was politicians or whatever, but she was the celebrity, you know. If her status was to be anything, it would be she was the celebrity of this kind of world, and that in that essence, she was the perfect character for it as well, because like you kind of, the way about her and all that kind of stuff, it was very people-pleasing. And that for me kind of, again, I guess with Littlefinger was like, I don't know what game she's playing here. It was very mysterious to me at times of whose side she was on and what kind of game she was playing and what she wanted her end result to be as well. But I guess ultimately, and you think she was, some of the things that she did was very thought out and smart as well, which made it very like she's playing into someone's hand, and you're just trying to work out where her intentions lie, really.
Right, you're totally right. Like, I think for Marjorie it's a little easier because, like, you know, most of what she does is I want to do this in order to become queen.
Yes,
I want to
exactly.
become queen.
To be a very liked queen, because, like, you know, you could do Cersei's take and be like, well, I'm just the queen and I don't give a shit if people hate me or whatever. But she wanted to be like, you know, the people's
very
queen,
liked,
you know, yeah.
Yeah, I'm remembering that scene where she stops like their carriages and she gets out in Flea Bottom and, you know, she starts talking to the commoners. Yeah, for sure. So beyond the wall, Jon Snow encounters the wildling leader Mance Rayder, played by Kieran Hines. Again, like awesome, like great scenes here. You know, he's already met Ygritte, played by Rose Leslie, who is, you know, they're obviously married in real life. Fucking beautiful couple, those two, man. I love those two. Like, god damn it. But I I didn't like I remember not liking the whole, back and forth with Ygritte. But this time around, man, like I was like, I like this. Like I like how I like how she's slowly making him come out of his shell, literally in that cave.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, I had to do it.
Got him. Yeah, I was a bit confused too. I remember watching it and thinking like, why do they kind of go off on each other kind of thing? But I guess on the rewatch you kind of realize they are from two different worlds and they're very proud of the worlds that they have come from. And maybe if they both spent longer together, you would have seen maybe one of them grow or both of them grow into something. But I think especially at that stage in the story and in their life, they just both wanted to be the representations of their world, and that's probably why they had to go their separate ways in the end, I think, too.
Yeah, it is really tragic the way it ends. But I do agree with everything you said, like especially because like they both 100% are kind of like committed to their ideals. And I think it's more important for Jon, who ends up like surviving, obviously, because like Jon's like, well, no, all of the wildlings are kind of savages, but he has to, like, his arc for this season is he has to kind of like warm on that and like, realize that they're just people. They're just people trying to survive. And, these stories that have been told by people for centuries about the wildlings, they're incorrect, really.
Yeah, and again, you get that kind of not cliche, but that like the underdog, just a normal guy, but because he is like this seemingly, I guess, normal straight man character, he's able to he judges people on face value as well. And so he, like you said, he hears all these stories about the wildlings and stuff like that, but he's not afraid to question those stories and to make his own mind up about them. And that's definitely what we see in this series, is Jon making his own mind up about who he deems as being worthy or friends with or alliances with as well.
For sure. This is also the season that we meet another fan favorite character, Olenna Tyrell, played by Diana Rigg. Man, holy shit. She is, every scene she's in, she is fantastic. She's such a great counterpoint to Tywin. Like, their scenes together are brilliant.
Definitely, yeah.
But Rob decides against marrying Rosalind Frey after falling in love with Talisa, a healer. Also another one of my favorite female
Oh my
actresses.
God, seriously.
Hey, man. Hey, there is a lot of dick
in the next TV show we're going to talk about Outlander, and I'm going to talk about how gorgeous all the men are in there and see how you like it. No, I'm joking.
Hey, man,
it's fine. I'm just teasing you.
There's a lot of beautiful men in Game of Thrones.
I like it. It's nice.
See, you can't really say it because you're not single and I am. So.
I'm allowed to say if I find someone attractive. I think it's pretty
Jim
obvious.
walks in. What are you talking about?
Whose abs are you talking about now?
But the Starks are invited to the wedding to another, which turns out to be a trap sprung by Rosalind's resentful father, Lord Walder Frey, played by the awesome David Bradley.
He's
man,
amazing in this. Seriously, think of an actor that could have done just as better job as him. Perfect. Again, casting
awesome.
is brilliant. I hate him. The character
I hate his voice.
Oh, he's just so creepy looking and so his voice, just everything. Great casting again.
Yeah, man. Like, he's again not the like, I'm talking about it like we're talking about him like this is the first time that he shows up in the show, but it's not, because they do go to the twins in season 2 and they do meet him. But man, yeah, for sure, Walder Frey is outstanding. Even later, like the later seasons when he does come into it again, he is also awesome.
He plays that old geriatric, seemingly losing his mind character very well.
I'm just thinking of Argus Filch.
Yes.
From Harry Potter.
I couldn't help it. I just wanted him to do that kind of kick walk, just once.
Oh dear, we are in trouble. Or what is it? He's in Hot Fuzz as well. Have you seen Hot Fuzz?
Yeah, that's what actually when you were going to mention the Hound, I was going to say
Sea Mine. Oh, wait, is the Hound in that?
Wait, am I thinking of another British? What was he in? The Hound.
Who, the Hound?
Yeah. Wasn't he in Hot Fuzz or another Edgar Wright?
No, he was
comedy.
in. Yeah, he was in just recently. Oh, you know what? It wasn't a comedy. It was fucking Triple X, the new Triple X movie.
What the hell?
Wait. You know what? He was in Hot Fuzz. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I was like,
but I can't remember who he played. He played
just
Michael Arms. Oh,
just some
dude.
kind of, how do I say this politically correctly? Not the smartest person in the village character.
Yarp. He played that guy.
Yeah. Yarp.
Yeah. Holy shit. I just pieced that together. That is amazing. Holy fuck. And I can't continue this episode, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, all right. We're done. Because I didn't really realize it in season 1. I was kind of like, this character, you know when you see a character and you're like, I've seen this character from somewhere before. And I just thought, I don't know, I watch a lot of British shit. It's probably just a character in some there. It wasn't until you see Arya and him more that I'm like, nah, where is he from? And then watching Hot Fuzz, I'm just like, holy shit, it's the Hound. The Hound is being like, yarp.
Of course, yeah. This is the season where Arya and the Hound kind of like bond and things like that, right? Like this is their season together.
Because Arya sees. Wait, what? We up to the wedding?
Yeah. The Reigns of Castamere, the standout episode of season 3, right?
Yes, definitely. The shocking. I think again that was. We say this for every season and every episode nearly, but that was again another point where you're like, this is savage. Like what these are doing, these people and the writers and directors and the actors are doing was crazy. Like that, this whole season really kicked off the violence of what is Game of Thrones as well. And again, like talking about killing off main characters. Holy shit, this has got to be a record.
This was a bloodbath. Yeah, this was a bloodbath.
And I really believed that Rob was going to be a vital character. Like he definitely was, but I thought Rob was going to have a long storyline, and for that to be so brutally ended was very like holy shit, like very shocking, and I didn't know where the story was going to go from there as well.
Right, exactly, because at this point you're like, holy shit, the Lannisters have won. Like, they've won the war, pretty much.
Legit, yeah.
Like, the way it escalates, it starts with, because I've seen this scene an insane amount of times. So it's like, the doors close, they go and close the doors, they play the Reigns of Castamere. Catelyn's sitting next to Roose Bolton and she sees that he has the chainmail on.
Yeah,
and shit just kicks off.
Yeah, great writing, fantastic,
insane, man. And like honestly, like the way it starts, man, like the guy fucking stabbing Talisa's pregnant stomach.
Yeah. And you know what I loved as well is when Caitlin saw that that he was wearing the
Roose Bolton.
Roose Bolton was wearing his fucking hell, I can't speak. Was wearing his like
chainmail.
He just didn't flinch or didn't say anything. He was just like, right. That's right. We're here.
He just looks at her.
Yeah, he's just like, yep, you figured it out. Like, you're a bit late. You can't do shit about it now. So, yeah, just that subtlety of that scene before the big killing spree, obviously. But that realization, you're kind of like, oh shit. It was a very quiet moment, which I think as a viewer watching it was definitely what we needed as we were experiencing it at the same time as Catelyn. It was like very much we were involved in the process as well.
Dude, that's another thing. Like, Roose Bolton is another actor that scares me.
Oh, yeah. I would love to see him in some Hot Fuzz series just to change.
Just to take the edge of it off it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, man, like, just the revelation as well, like, that, it wasn't just Waldo who's pissed off that, Rob married someone. It was the Lannisters that were behind it as well.
And I think,
the
like,
Lannisters send their regards.
Yeah, and I think in retrospect too, again, when you rewatch it, perhaps, or even if you get it on the first go, you kind of see the Starks are beginning to be like the good guys. You know what I mean? Like they're starting to get this image of like the Lannisters are the bad people, the Starks are the good people. So they're starting to get this image of like the goody two shoe kind of family, and they've got the good armies around them kind of thing. So yeah, the Boltons were probably like, no, fuck this. I don't want these freaking Starks to get traction or anything like that. I'm in to, revolt and all that kind of stuff. So you kind of can see why they did what they did as well.
For sure.
To a degree.
I also don't want to go past in this episode. This is where Bran just misses Jon Snow, just barely.
Yes.
They're in that tower. And at the bottom, Jon, the wildlings turn on Jon because Jon is not really. He doesn't kill that old man, and Tormund and Jon get into a thing, and Ygritte shoots some arrows into Jon. And by this point, Bran has met up with the Reids, Jojen and Mira Reid, with poor Hodor.
Hodor.
Dude, I'm gonna cry when we talk about that episode. But
bring the tissues.
Yeah, man. And who else is with? Fucking Rickon's there as well.
Yeah, I just remember watching that and just like screaming at my screen, just like, oh my God, you're so close. And they haven't seen family like in so long. And it's just both of them have been isolated. Like all of the Starks have been isolated. But really, like Jon's been beyond the wall. Bran's been running like with these random strangers kind of thing. And so you just think, oh my God, you're so close.
Right, exactly. There are a couple other storylines here that I'd like to talk about as well. So, sorry, Jill, it's not on that summary that I gave you, so you're just going to be taking this from memory. But the Bear and the Maiden Fair was the episode, a couple episodes before this, which is where, Jaime, who has been captured by
yes.
Brienne.
Yeah,
she gets captured by Locke.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these storylines, they're like little like travel mini series in themselves. Like you've got the Hound and Arya, and then you've got Brienne and Jaime on their own adventure, and you've got freaking Jon with the wildlings. Like everyone's just trying to freaking do their thing and have their own adventure and trying to survive. There's so much shit that happens. Yeah, the whole Brienne and Jaime thing is like a massive chunk of the story.
It's tough to talk about this because it's like 10 hours, and it's like 10 hours of like deep stuff. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
So we might feel like we're skirting over things, but we just don't have time to deeply talk about each episode. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And meanwhile, this is where Daenerys, who's at this point, she's acquired the Unsullied already. By the way, when she acquires the Unsullied,
seeing that. It just as a CGI, again, in a TV series, like wars and stuff like that, like explosions, like, again, we've seen before. But, when you get a crowd of people, that's always something that looks a bit shoddy on screen. It always looks a bit fake. But I remember seeing the crowd of the Unsullied, 8,000 people, and believing it, like obviously, I'm not assuming they have 8,000 people, but it just the CGI and the shot just looked so real. Again, it was just a testament to the production that, again, they've stepped beautiful. It up. Yeah, that's it. It was beautiful.
It's beautiful. And like, this is the first time, I mean, like you do get that moment of the dragons burning that evil priest guy in Karth. But this is the first time when you actually get like full on dragon burn death, like when that Master Krasnus, when she gives the dragon over to him, and he's like, and he's like, calling her slut and shit in Valyrian, and she's like, I know Valyrian, bitch.
Yeah. Such a power move.
So awesome, dude. But also, this is also the season that introduces us to Dario Naharis and the Second Sons, right?
Yes, true.
Which is interesting, yeah. I like Dario, obviously played by two different actors. In this one, he's played by, in this season 3, he's played by Ed Skrein, who was the villain in Deadpool. And in the new seasons, in the subsequent seasons, he's played by, I'm blanking on the actor's name. I will get it. But he's from The Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah.
He plays the brother who is the writer. Which one do you like better?
I feel like we didn't really get to see the first one.
Ed Skrein, yeah.
Yeah.
So his name is Michael Huisman.
Michael
whatever.
Huisman. Right. Yeah. I feel like we didn't really get to see the first one too much, so I guess I can't give him a fair assessment. But I mean, the connection between Danny and Michael
totally
thing is pretty kismet. So I'd say. If I had to choose a side kind of thing, probably the latter. And he's proven himself to be actually, a standalone actor. He's done a lot of movies and TV shows as well since Game of Thrones, which is, not everyone can do that. Like, he's got a pretty big role in the last few seasons. So to take on a few other series, I always respect that too, that an actor can juggle as well.
Definitely. I think
he's a pretty good choice. Do you know why they changed? Was there a reason of?
I don't know. I don't know fully. But I mean, Ed Skrein. I think he's been in bigger movies than the second guy.
Right.
Like I said, Daredevil. Right. So
yeah. He had more of a Dothraki kind of look, didn't he? I'd have to admit.
He did. Yeah. The thing I didn't like. I didn't like Ed Skrein, the first one. He just came off as a bit too
cocky,
smug.
Hey? Yeah. I got that too. And that's what I mean. Like, he was probably the stereotype of a Dothraki, but the latter he was a bit softer. So maybe he was a bit more likable kind of thing, because he has softer features and he's a bit less intimidating kind of thing. So I don't know 100% why they recasted, but I think if whatever reason,
just looked it up.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing that they did, because especially the amount of time that Danny and him spent together, you'd want to like the character, I think, too, because you'd want to respect Danny's decision. You know what I mean? To be with.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Ed Skrein apparently left Game of Thrones to star in a Transporter movie as a younger Jason Statham.
Oh, poor kid.
Oh, man. That was not a good choice,
but
mate.
Still, he was like in season 3 and you didn't know how big Game of Thrones was. Like, fire your agent, mate.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, I know. That Transporter movie was not good.
Yeah, bad call.
Bad call. So that's season 3, man. Again, another standout. Oh, look, it's tough to call a standout season.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, man. Let's move on to season 4, shall we?
Yeah, everyone's dead.
Hell
what
yeah.
now?
Dude, that was my reaction. It's like, what are we watching now?
Who's gonna okay, so we're down 5 characters. Cool.
Right. So we got the red wedding, and now it's time for the purple wedding, so to speak, right?
Yes.
Joffrey bites the dust, very unexpected and very early on.
Yeah, that's true.
Man, I've watched this scene so many times, and most of the times was in that, like, in the wake break between this episode and the next episode. It's like you watching this scene so closely to see who it was. And once you know that it's Olenna,
can you tell in the rewatch that it was Olenna or
now? Yeah, hell yeah! Because like when she you can see her like taking the thing from the necklace. You can see it,
and she does say something. I can't remember it now. It's been a few months since I watched season 4, but I feel like she does say something to Sansa, like something comforting. Like, look, I'm paraphrasing, but she said something like, "You don't have to worry." Like, oh, my daughter, I don't want my daughter marrying this. Yeah, she kind of in a subtle way being like, I'll take care of this kind of thing.
She does, absolutely. But I also like, It's awesome because when you watch it retrospectively, it's awesome to watch how Olenna reacts. Like she's like, "Help your king! Don't just stand there." Like it's great. That whole episode, it's called "The Lion and the Rose," is amazing, man. Like everyone, because just before that wedding happens, before everything goes to shit, everyone kind of has like little moments with each other. So you've got because this is also the season that introduces us to Oberyn.
Right.
Fucking Pedro Pascal, man, is awesome, by the way. So it's awesome to see Oberyn interact with Cersei and Tywin, seeing as he's here on this kind of vendetta mission, right?
Yeah, definitely. And
For
again,
sure.
the tension when he comes to visit King's Landing is palpable. Yeah.
Awesome. Bisexual too. Fucking
Okay, cool.
explorer. he's from Dawn. That's what they do down there.
Yeah.
But I do like, you know, getting
Bisexuals?
introduced to Dawn.
Yeah.
yeah, bisexuals. Hey, you know what? You can be whatever you want. I don't care. It's 2019.
Dawn
Come on.
seems like a holiday destination. No wonder everyone's doing like, you know, whatever they want. It's kind of like, it seems like the only times that we've kind of seen it, it's been sunny and there's water and trees, and you kind of think like, yeah, this is no wonder everyone's so like, everyone from Dawn seems just like cool, you know, like sick.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
They seem pretty pretty laid back, right?
Well, yeah.
And this is also, again, where we meet Ilario Sand as well, who will come into play much later. So we'll get to that. But yeah, so Sansa is smuggled by Sir Dontos to Littlefinger, who shoots Sir Dontos in the face.
Crazy.
At this point, you're kind of like, oh, it was Littlefinger, but what were the logistics of it? Like, you know what I mean? They kind of give you an answer before they give you an answer in season 7.
Yeah.
Because like season 7 is Olenna's like full on, I guess, confession, right?
Definitely. Yeah, I see.
Yeah. So Lysa Arryn proves to be an unfit guardian for Sansa, having lost her mind. And you know what? One of the things that I wasn't really a fan of this time around was the whole jealousy angle between Littlefinger and Sansa and Lysa. I mean, I thought it maybe went for a little bit too long. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's kind of, again, you get that creepy vibe kind of thing. Yeah, I wouldn't say. Again, I guess it's just he's just so desperate for that Stark love, you know.
But there is a moment in this season where Sansa, she dyes her hair dark and she walks down those stairs and she looks so much like Catelyn, man.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
I was like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, and like the recent Game of Thrones season 8 promo shots as well, where I've seen what she's wearing, and it's kind of like she's kind of now representing her mother's side of the family. So I feel like she's more the representation of like her mother's house, because she's wearing kind of like fish scaly kind of
Tully, yeah.
Yeah. So she's definitely like that kind of representation, I think. And again, looking back on it, she probably always was, but probably from season 4 onwards, she's the like representation of that house, I would say, yeah.
For sure. So Lysa's killed by fucking Baelish. She just flies right out the moon door. Jesus Christ.
That moon door.
Yeah, man. Like it's that whole scene is kind of wild, but it's like after that, Baelish is kind of interrogated by the other Lords of the Vale, right? And that whole sequence is kind of cool because it's like you don't know if Sansa's going to rat out Baelish.
Yeah.
Like she kind of has his back.
And maybe
fantastic.
And I think at that point too, Baelish is the only person she knows as well.
Yeah.
So she has no choice but to just go along with him to her demise. So I think that's probably why she didn't probably smartly freak out or anything, is because she's like, he's all I've got. So he's the only family, because she didn't really. I think she was a bit weirded out by the family as well. So she was probably just like, I'll just have to go with Littlefinger wherever he goes, kind of thing.
I never really looked at her that way. Like, that Baelish is kind of like her guardian.
Yeah, I would say so. But he does that. He intentionally makes him the most trusted one in the room. Like, even again going from this season onwards, it's kind of like he tries to make Sansa believe that he is the most trusted person.
He's there to help.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that level of manipulation, man, it's brilliant. You don't really realize it as you're watching it. But again,
because
like,
you fall for it too.
awesome.
You're just a consumer, and you're just like, okay. Again, like I was saying, you kind of like, I don't know what's going on with this guy, but something's happening. But it's because if you watch it gradually, even episode to episode. But it's not until you probably rewatch it a few times, which is what I like, to be honest. Like I do like rewatching things, and being more getting used to storyline and figuring stuff out. I think it's a testament. It makes the writers haven't dumbed down storylines for us, kind of thing. So, yeah, I think you definitely see because, again, on first viewing, you don't know whether to trust this Baelish guy, and you don't know the events that unfold or anything like that. So you just kind of go, okay, he seems important. Like, am I being groomed too?
Yeah, right. So Brienne is tasked with tracking down Sansa, which is kind of like her storyline for the season.
Yeah.
And Cersei blames Tyrion for Joffrey's assassination. Take him! Take him!
Yeah.
Awesome, dude.
I think she was just waiting for any excuse as well.
Yeah, I get that feeling too. Like, because it's just like, how much she hates Tyrion, so she kind of needed an excuse and something very public too. Like, you know what I mean?
I think even if like it went through, like the trial went through and everything like that, there would probably be some part of her that was just unsure, but she just probably wanted to convict him because she just hated him so much.
Right, exactly. But man, like this whole lead up to the trial, because the trial does happen, and man, when
it feels so real too, you're just like,
it does,
especially for such a powerhouse of a character as Tyrion. You're kind of like, well, if he's going to jail, what does this mean for the what does this mean for the story?
For the show.
If he's kind of ended, like if he's just going to be in jail or be incarcerated or whatever, where's this story going to go then? And again, it seems so obvious that he would escape, but you don't think of that because you're like, that won't happen. Like, how can he? Like the Lannisters have got him on lock and guard. Like, there's no way this can happen.
Right, yeah, and man, like that whole trial scene where he just explodes when Shay gives her her testimony.
Yes.
And he, turns to everyone and he's like, I wish I'd murdered him. That entire sequence
your heart just breaks, doesn't it? Like
it does, because you can hear it in his voice. Like it's so. Not only is it his facial expressions and the way he's moving around, but like his voice cracking, you can tell he's so emotionally invested in it. Man, he just did such a beautiful job with it.
Yeah, this season was like, there's a lot of seasons that are a standout for Tyrion, but I think the season 3 and 4, for less of like political, but more of like actual like monologue and scenes for Peter Dinklage, this is definitely where he stood out as an actor in season 4, were these trial scenes.
Right, exactly. And of course Tyrion demands a trial by combat, right? Like something he learned at the Vale.
Yes.
And who does Cersei appoint?
Yeah, here we go.
For her champion? Fucking Gregor the Mountain Clegane, played by, and I will never be able to pronounce his name. His name is actually spelled Hafpor Julius Bjornsson, BJORNSSON, but I believe he's known as Thor, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's known as Thor, and he actually has He's the current world's strongest man.
Yeah, I believe that. I thought when I first when I saw him on screen for the first time, I thought this has got to be somehow digitally enhanced. Like,
it is not.
Yeah.
He is 6 foot 9 inches tall.
Fucking hell.
He weighs 200 kilos. Think about that, 200 kilos. That's 441 pounds. Man, he's age 30. He's from Iceland. He is huge, dude. Like, he is insanely massive. And by the way, he was also recast. He was not played by Thor in the first season where you get that jousting tournament.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because how did they find this guy as well? They must have been...
I have no idea, man, but I'm glad he's here. Like, he adds, even though he doesn't do much, he adds so much to the show.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, so Jaime and Bronn refuse to fight for Tyrion, which is interesting. Oberyn steps up, seeking a chance to avenge Elia Martell, who was raped and killed by the Mountain. And this is also, Daenerys and Daario have sex, finally, you know what's going to happen kind of thing. And this is all kind of leading up to this. There's these 2 episodes back to back. You got the Mountain and the Viper, and then you've also got the Watchers on the Wall, which is an amazing 1-2 punch of like awesome Game of Thrones moments. So the Mountain and the Viper is first. That starts with this attack on Molestown, which is where Gilly is, and she discovers Ygritte and things like that. But the big thing in this episode is the battle, like the trial by combat, right?
Yeah.
Man, this was a hell of a moment, dude. Like, this was okay. So before the episode started, did you have any bets on where it was going to go?
Not at all. Especially not here. Like, again, when a new character enters, you kind of wonder what their purpose is going to be in the storyline, and I think that's definitely what I felt for Oberyn. And you knew that he was there for a reason, and he was going to shake things up. And honestly, again, with the whole anything can happen in Game of Thrones kind of thing, when it was battle by combat, you're kind of thinking, are they all just going to just start fighting each other and it's all just all hell's going to break loose? Like, you just I didn't know what was going to happen. I really was blindsided especially by the death and how it ends and everything as well.
Yeah, man. Like, I remember it was a thing, like in the lead up to this, it was just you knew that this was going to be a showdown, but I can't remember if I had any specific, thoughts on who was going to come out on top. But I did not see it. Like the execution of this is fantastic. I love that Oberyn gets this upper hand on the Mountain, and you'd think that everything's going to be all good and right in the world, but this is Game of Thrones after all, and it's not. It doesn't exactly go the way it seems, does it? Exactly. It's just, and dude, Pedro Pascal's performance here. He keeps shouting, you raped her, you murdered her, you killed her children. He's so great, so fantastic in this scene.
He just wants that revenge so badly as well, and you can believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the way, he looks up at Tywin. Who gave you the order? Yeah, it's awesome, dude. But yeah, again, the tension of this mounts so quickly. Like, the Mountain just grabs Oberyn by one hand and crushes his skull like a tomato.
But again, and you see it. You see it. They
you
do
see everything.
Like a cut scene or whatever. You see it all happening, and it's eye-opening.
The teeth chattering along the stone the stone floor. Ugh, the sound of that.
Yeah.
But also this is not just a throwaway thing, because a villain is created here. A villain in the form of Ilaria Sand, right? Like, this is where it all starts for her, really.
True. Yeah.
It's great because
she
Game of Thrones
very
is
evil. That's very true.
Yeah. Game of Thrones is a very domino effect sort of situation. It's great. And then we get the Watchers of the Wall episode, which is the big episode 9 moment of this season. This episode, again, like I said, the first one was directed by Neil Marshall, and he returned for this one. This episode was awesome, dude. Like this
this
was
is up
fantastic.
there for me. I like this episode.
Yeah, it's not. I like what you said about Blackwater, because like it's not just a battle. You are kind of like keyed into this, like these moments of the battle that are just so fantastic. Like I love. You've got the moments of John like defending the wall, and like, you know, the giants like trying to tear down the gate.
Great.
But man, like you've also got
it was great.
You've also got these like small moments of Gilly with fucking, who is it? Janos Slint.
Yes.
Janos Slint takes refuge with her. Oh, it's great.
Yeah, I really like.
It's great.
I really like this battle because, even though it obviously involves the wildlings and the giants and everything, I guess it wasn't like army versus army. It didn't have that kind of like higher level kind of field. It just felt like, I wouldn't say savages, but it just felt like men going after men kind of thing. And the whole wildlings coming to the wall and everything like that. I just really enjoyed this because it felt like a proper fight scene and less of a battle. It was just more they were fighting for their honor, and you could really see that. And I loved that moment. I loved it when who was the Lord Commander at the time?
Was it Alyssa Thorne?
Alyssa Thorne, was it? And how people kept on leaving the wall kind of thing. And I loved that scene where he's just like, oh, I'll go down. And then he goes down, John, you're in charge. And then John's up there trying to take orders, spurt out orders kind of thing. And then he's like, I got to go down there. And then he takes some other men down. He's like, and he says to Now, who's still the Lord Commander, who I've blamed on the name, like, okay, you're in charge. And he goes back down, and then they all go down, and then it's just carnage as well. Like and unfortunately we lose a few of the men, John's fellow men that have been great characters from the first season. We lose a few of these guys, but everyone, again, people have to die for it to be believable as well.
Totally.
And I think again it shows just the brutality of the war and the battle scenes and stuff like that. Yeah, I really liked this scene because it really felt like it was just carnage everywhere as well.
Absolutely, and it showed the budget of the show, right? Like this is massive,
and the honor
but
of
also,
both. Sorry, I was just gonna say, and the honor of both parts, like the Wildings and the Keepers of the Wall, because it was like, remember when I don't know if it wasn't 1-1. It must have been the other giant who was trying to break through the gate, but John sent some men down to and he was like, whatever you do, don't let that door like open kind of thing. And and they stayed there until the very end, making sure that they held the wall kind of thing. And it shows on both sides that they were both fighting till the death because they were both doing what they felt was right. And again, that kind of passion shows again and again in both of their parties when they come together as well. It's like they fight for their honor kind of thing.
100%, man. And I remember like they set up the stakes for this battle so well. I remember like twice before the episode starts, it's like that gate is like 10 inches of cold roll steel. And then when that shit comes down, man, it's like, oh, fuck, man, all bets are off.
And when you see the like mammoths and the giants, you're just like, shit. Yeah.
And the Fens, those cannibals, that shit is crazy, man. But the biggest thing probably that happens here is Ygritte getting shot by Ollie, right?
Yeah. Friggin' Ollie.
Very sad.
Very sad.
Fucking Ollie, man. Like, fuck this kid.
And they were having, they just locked eyes and they were going to have a little bit of a moment, and then Ollie ended it.
Yeah. I kind of get it. Because Ollie did see Ygritte and, like, these wildlings take, you know, his little village and kill his parents and things like that, so... Oh man! By the way, that's a great sequence too. Like Tormund like grabs him and is like, you know, go tell the Night's Watch what happened here.
Yes.
But yeah, so the Night's Watch secure the ground level of the Castle Black, leading to Tormund's arrest. The wall climbers are obliterated by that massive scythe. Jesus Christ, that's
that was
awesome,
crazy.
dude.
Yeah, that was so
Insane.
good. And again, these battle scenes, you have battle scenes, but then they've planned. These people are people that have battled for years and years and years. It's not just men coming and clashing their swords together. They have certain plans in place. So it was, again, good to see. Yeah, they had a plan for those people climbing the wall.
Right, and I like that we learn a bit more about the wall. I mean, we do know that the wall was created by, there are magic, there's spells and things like that. Like Benjen tells us, I think in season 6, that the wall, it's full of spells and all these protections. But I also like that it has these hidden weapons throughout as well. That's awesome.
Definitely.
So this episode ends with Jon going beyond the wall to find and kill Mance Rayder, but that doesn't go too well in the final episode when Stannis essentially comes out of nowhere. By the way,
yeah,
comes out of nowhere and overruns the wildling camp.
I know. As much as I remember at the time being like, I fucking hate Stannis. He's such a waste of air. But he brings us Davos, so I'll take it.
He does, and I to be honest, I like the actor that plays Stannis. It's the character of Stannis, this guy that's being led astray by this witch, this devil who's whispering in his ear. That's what makes him unlikable, because he can't really.
Yeah, he came across as arrogant to me as well. A very entitled kind of man. You do see him being a bit of a fighter, but I never saw him as the smartest man or the fittest man or the most powerful man.
Right.
So I think from that point of view, and then perceiving that he was the right to the throne kind of thing, it was kind of it wasn't my fate. I liked the character because I think you were meant to dislike him, but I just remember just wanting to be like, mate, you're not going to be on the crown. What are you doing? But yeah, true. His army was very important at the time for the story, for sure.
They do say that Stannis is one of the smartest battle commanders out there. I get,
because he did have, that's true. He did have a big army and he was quite political. But I guess it was time. We didn't really see a lot. I feel like I wasn't won by if he should have been the rightful king or not.
Yeah. So Bran, this is where he finds that cave, and basically Jojen gets stabbed, dude, by the dead. Jesus Christ, that's insane.
Yeah.
And they're saved by the children, who we'll find more about in 2 years' time.
Damn.
Because we don't see Bran in the next season. It's just,
Which is crazy.
Crazy. But yeah, man, this is also that episode where Brienne and the Hound showdown, which is an insane battle, man.
A great scene, a great sequence for both of the actors as well to just play off each other.
Yeah.
It was just, and I feel like we haven't talked about the main characters, because I guess we can't really talk too much about them without really getting into the next few seasons as well. But I feel like Arya, just if I could talk quickly about her too, just in this, from season 1 to 4 as well. I think this is where you start to see where she starts to become the person that she is now. I remember the first few especially after Ned's death, you kind of just see her just trying to survive kind of thing. But then the Hound kind of teaches her how to be a bit of a survivor, how to be a bit ruthless. He's quite blunt.
How to be a lone wolf.
Yeah, again, and yeah, true. How to be content alone as well. And you kind of see that. And I remember them fighting and being like, I don't know who I want to win, because as much as the Hound might seemingly be, I guess, quotation marks, a bad guy, but, what's Brienne going to do with Arya kind of thing? Where's Arya's storyline going to go if she goes off with Brienne kind of thing? So I was kind of glad that I didn't get my answer. She went off by herself and had her own storyline. So, yeah, this was a great scene, I think, for those storylines. to both split as well. It was time.
This might be one of my favorite sort of like one-on-one battle scenes in the show. I absolutely love this entire thing. And I love the Hound begging Arya to kill him, but she just like walks off.
Yeah.
It's great. But she's headed to Bravos, isn't she? She wants to reunite with Jaqen. And she's, on her own little adventure, which is great.
Yeah.
So the way the episode kind of closes out is Jamie frees Tyrion, and this whole kind of like entire massive betrayal thing. Like, he sees Shay in Tywin's bed, and Tywin gets crossbowed on the shitter. Iconic. But it's also like, what a way to go. And like this guy who's like all about proudness and things like that. And it's just,
Exactly. It's perfect. This like seemingly perfect figure of a man in that world dies on the shitter. But it was also like, even after that though, you kind of like go, oh, okay, yeah, cool. Killed his dad, like, see, that's about right. But when Tyrion strangles Shay, it's just hard. Like, honestly, it was. I remember the first scene, and I was a bit like, oh, this is a bit ugly, but it's just heartbreaking as well, because what Shay pretty much killed him, in a way. Shay
Absolutely.
Totally, but not even just betrayed Tyrion, but really sentenced him to death. And for him to return the favor, I guess it was heartbreaking, because you don't see Tyrion really getting along with people in general, and people getting along with him, and you think what they had was seemingly real, but unfortunately for Tyrion, not so much.
The way that's shot as well, that whole strangulation scene, and we just like focus on Peter Dinklage's face. Yeah, beautiful. It's great.
Well, beautiful, but tragically beautiful.
But yeah, I do believe like one of the final. Well, we can't go past Daenerys here. So this is kind of like that whole thing where she's. Is she in Meereen? No, it's Yunkai. She's in Yunkai.
Yeah.
She's in Yunkai. And this guy brings her the charred remains of his daughter, which is wild. Who was burned by Drogon. Yeah, and she has to lock up the dragons in the catacombs, which is fucking sad, dude.
Which is really sad. Like, yeah, it makes sense, I guess, I think reality hit her and probably audiences watching as well, that, like, she's got 3 wild beasts, like dragons. Like, how are you supposed to tame that or take charge of that or anything like that? And it's kind of, I guess it would have its burdens as well. I wouldn't know what else she would have done, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you do feel it, and it's honestly, it's a testament to the show that they make us care about these 3 CG creatures.
Yeah. Like when she puts them down the stairs, walking them downstairs, and then she's like walking, she shackles them, and then she walks away. It's just, it's so heartbreaking.
Yeah, she plays it so well, Emilia Clarke. She's great. Just one final thing before we end this season, and I can't believe I didn't talk about it. This is the season that introduces us to Ramsay Snow, played by Iwan Rheon. Jesus Christ, man.
Yes, I can't wait to talk about him, actually.
The way, like, because the whole Reek thing happens here. It starts here.
Right, yeah.
It's so insane, and just a testament to the character of Ramsay, just how long he goes with. And we find, I'm your ally. You know what I mean?
And we have another villain amongst the storylines again.
We have a new Joffrey. Yeah. We got rid of Joffrey, but we've got something else in store for you.
And
Don't worry.
It's kind of like, and people might have their opinions, but who is worse? Obviously Ramsay had more success of being evil, but who knows how far Joffrey would have gone if he wasn't killed when he was, kind of thing. And Ewan Rion, I used to watch shows that he was in before Game of Thrones, and I remember he was in
Misfits?
a show Misfits. Yes, he was in a show Misfits, and I remember he was such a main character. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't. I've definitely heard of it though.
Yeah,
and I definitely know he was in it.
He kind of became like a side, I wouldn't say supporting character, but he was definitely one of the quiet characters, and then he became like a really lead role, and then he left the show. And I remember reading, I don't know when he left, but I remember reading somewhere that he left to go on to another TV show. And I remember thinking like, I hope this TV show is worth it. He was my favorite character. It better be good. And then lo and behold, 4 or 5 years later, he turns up being Ramsay Bolton in Game of Thrones. And I'm like, holy shit, it's this guy. Oh, he's not the sweet, heroic character he was in Misfits.
No.
But that's
he's
just a
about
testament.
The furthest thing you can get from, yeah.
But that's just a testament to him as an actor. He was kind of this underdog kind of character in the show that I was watching before, and then he's the most brutal, evil villain in Game of Thrones. And holy shit, he played it very well. I don't know how he pulled off what he did, but it was, do you ever watch scenes, I guess, and you kind of think, you have a realization that these people had to act these scenes?
Oh yeah, all the time, man. And Ramsay's got the fair share of them for sure.
Oh yeah, obviously there's awkward nude scenes and all that kind of stuff, but the brutality that this actor would have to do with his co-stars is pretty.
And you know what's kind of fucked? Can you imagine getting in the mindset of acting as brutal and evil as this guy, but then as soon as the director yelled cut, you're shaking hands with the cast, with your castmates, you know what I mean? I'm sure they would have been all friendly and shit.
Yeah.
It's wild.
I guess it just must be part of being an actor, is having to some degree turn it on and turn it off when applicable. And I guess that's when you've got it down pat, is when you can go in between, when you can turn it on and turn it off. And I guess, I don't know what Ewan was like in real life, but the fact that he seems quite friendly and a genuine person in real life kind of thing, he must, and to shoot those scenes being so close with the people, you would have to have some form of chemistry offset regardless.
Absolutely. You must, yeah, for sure. That's that's seasons 1 to 4 of Game of Thrones. Did I forget anything, Jill?
We definitely have, but we can't cover it all. There's so many things we probably didn't talk. I feel like we didn't talk enough about Hodor, didn't talk enough about Sansa, and even Jon.
We didn't even talk about that whole subplot of Melisandre getting Gendry to Dragonstone.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just so much to unpack.
It's gonna happen. Yeah. But man, I hope we touched on all of the big talking points, and man, I am primed now for season 8.
I'm so keen. I cannot wait for season 8. It makes me want to just rewatch season 5 to 7 now again.
Oh yeah, you know what? Let's backtrack. I'm on season 7 now. Let's rewind it and go back. Yeah, cool. Jill, do you have anything else to say before we head out of here about Game of Thrones, or about yourself, or about any projects you have going on?
I think I'm all talked out. I think I'm all Game of Thrones out. But yeah,
hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I plugged my Insta before. If you're keen, if you're not, don't mind. But let us know. I'd be interested to let your audiences. Let's have a discussion of what interesting things that people thought about the season 1 to 4, something that maybe we didn't talk about in one of your posts or whatever. I'll say holla if you think I'm wrong or whatever else. I'd be keen to have a chat. I can always talk about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, for sure. And guys, you can do that at the after party. That's on Facebook. So go and engage with us over there. We're always talking Game of Thrones. We're always talking movies. Matt and I just reviewed the polarizing Captain Marvel. So definitely go check that out. And we have a lot more stuff coming up for you as well. There's some big movies coming out in the next few weeks, man. We've got Jill, Us is out soon.
Yeah.
Jordan Peele's Us. Really excited for that. And then I think you got Shazam later. You've got fucking Avengers is less than a month away. Jesus Christ. But yeah, dude, this episode has been great. I cannot wait to do part 2 with you. Thank you so much for jumping on for Game of Thrones with me. This has been a blast. I love talking Game of Thrones. So.
Next time I'll eat beforehand because I'm starving now.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I'll let you go. Guys, thank you so much for joining us here at Midnight Double Feature. If you like what you hear, rate and review us on iTunes. And be sure to drop us a line. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time.